In this video, we'll be ranking every Ash Kalos gym battle from worst to best. From the Sticky Web Showdown at the Santa Luna City Gym to the Rock and Roll Battlefield of Burbank, which gym was the most entertaining? We're ranking every single one of Ash's XY gym matches based on strategy, animation, and just straight up how much we liked it. XY gym battles were really good. It was easily the hardest region to properly rank all of the gym matches. One of his best battles was so good it could honestly be the best gym battle he's ever had, and it's in contention for one of his best battles period. Starting off with the absolute worst gym battle of the Kalos region, we have Viola, the Santa Luna City gym leader. It kinda makes sense that the first gym leader of a region would be the one to be the worst, but surprisingly, that hasn't been much the case so far in this ranking series. Just 5 episodes into the XY saga, and Ash is ready to challenge his first gym leader. What's fun about this one is that Viola's sister is Alexa, who Ash has spent the last several episodes traveling together with. Now, unlike the black and white saga of the anime, Kalos was not a soft reset for Ash, so with Pikachu by his side, we should be looking for an easy peasy first gym battle. The battle will be 2-on-2 with Viola leading with her Surskit and Ash going with Pikachu. Ash has a type advantage, so it should be smooth sailing, right? Ash goes right away for Quick Attack, to which Surskit responds with Protect. And right off the bat, the animation is so good in XY that it puts all other series battle animations to shame. Pikachu goes for attack after attack, and no matter what move they choose, Pikachu's unable to land a single hit on the bug type. And now for Viola's strategy, she shoots an Ice Beam at the battlefield, freezing it, making it hard for Pikachu to stand, let alone battle. Surskit skates circles around Pikachu, but Pikachu is finally able to land a bonk on the head with an Iron Tail. After collision of Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, a Signal Beam connects on Pikachu, knocking it out. Up next, Fletchling comes in for Ash, and after dodging a Sticky Web, a Razor Wind knocks Surskit out, evening up the match. Down to her last Pokemon, she sends out her ace, Vivian. Ash is optimistic about being able to win, but Viola lets him know that this is not going to be an easy win. The two Pokemon fight evenly for a while until Vivian uses Gust on Fletchling, causing it to get stuck on the previously missed Sticky Webs. Now stuck on the webs, Vivian has a chance to charge up and use a Solar Beam on the bird, knocking it out of the battle and causing Ash to lose. What I liked about this battle is that they made Ash lose in a convincing way. He didn't use Pokemon that had a type disadvantage, he didn't make any dumb mistakes, no, he just got outmaneuvered, period. The only bad thing I can say about this match is that I feel like once the Ice Battlefield came out, he should have switched Pikachu for Fletchling, as that would have made the most sense. But other than that, this battle was as solid as the Ice Battlefield made by Surskit, but it just doesn't stack up to the rest of the region's gym. I think that tells you so much about the quality of the Kalos gyms. Besides that, I hope that the number 9 is a different gym leader.
And you would be wrong, because the second gym battle with Viola is the second worst battle of the XY series. But that's not to say it's a bad battle. In fact, it's actually a solid battle. If compared with gym battles of other regions, Ash vs Viola Part 2 would definitely be at least mid-tier. After practicing all day with Alexa and Clemont, Ash is now ready to re-challenge Viola, now prepared for whatever tactics she dishes out. First is a rematch between Pikachu and Surskit. Right off the bat, Surskit shows off its unmatched speed and attacks with a series of Sticky Web. But thanks to her training, Pikachu manages to dodge them all. The battle proceeds as each Pokemon sends their attacks one after another, that is until Pikachu hops onto Surskit, causing its Ice Beam to go everywhere, and to Viola's favor, as now the entire battlefield is covered with ice. Pikachu is once again stuck in the same situation as before, but this time Ash takes a page out of his old book and calls Pikachu to strike its tail onto the ground to maintain balance and composure, allowing the electric mouse to counter Surskit's Signal Beam with a precise Thunderbolt and take revenge for humiliating him in their previous battle. But Pikachu isn't the only one seeking revenge, because when Viola sends out her Vivian, Ash decides to switch to Fletchling, giving the little bird a chance to rewrite the conclusion of its battle with the colorful butterfly. Their training has now allowed Fletchling to ride the winds of Vivian's gust and land a Razor Wind, but Vivian manages to afflict Fletchling with Sleep Powder, causing the poor bird to fall asleep midair, leaving it completely vulnerable to the finishing Solar Beam. Yeah, I'm sure Fletchling's got more battles to show what it's capable of. But for now, Pikachu returns to finish the job. To deal with Vivian's gust, Pikachu improvises its tail even more, using Iron Tail to ensure he doesn't get blown away. But the problem is Pikachu is now stuck, so it's now open to another Sleep Powder. But Ash takes another page of his old book, and commands Pikachu to use Electro Ball on himself to prevent him from sleeping. This gives Pikachu the momentum he needs to attack with Electro Ball, and now Viola's Ice Battlefield backfires, cause now Vivian is slammed onto these hanging ice balls, leaving its wings frozen. Pikachu unleashes his final Thunderbolt, winning Ash his first Kalos Gym Badge. What I like in this battle is seeing Ash's old unconventional strategies, but I also think we could have seen more from this battle, as sometimes it felt a bit too similar to their first battle, just with different results. Nevertheless, Ash vs Viola Part 2 is a solid battle from start to finish. That's 2 ice field battles in a row. I wonder what's next.
Wulfric takes the number 8 spot on this list. 2 ice battlefields in a row? Let's make it 3. Whoa, jumping from the first gym leader of the region to the last is pretty crazy way to start this list. To be fair, this is the first gym battle they had, not the rematch. Ash leads with Hawlucha and Wulfric goes with Abomasnow. The 2 Pokemon go at it very hard, and honestly Hawlucha goes in and full wombo combos it until it's eventually able to defeat the Frost Tree Pokemon with a high jump kick. Ash now has the lead, so Wulfric responds with Avalugg. Hawlucha dodges his Stone Edge and connects with Karate Chop, but this Pokemon has too high of a defensive stat for this Pokemon. And his ability is Ice Body, which heals him every turn under Hail, which was brought in thanks to Abomasnow. And the same Hail is chipping away at the frail Luchador. Hawlucha goes for High Jump Kick, which gets countered by Gyro Ball. And as he tries to recompose himself, Avalugg connects with another Gyro Ball, knocking him out and evening the score. Ash goes for the type advantage and sends out Talonflame. Flare blitzes Avalugg right away, but he heals it off immediately and fires off an Avalanche which does more damage since he took damage from Flare Blitz. Talonflame barely dodges a Stone Edge, responds with a Flare Blitz, and immediately gets hit with another Avalanche, knocking it out. Now Ash is down to his last Pokemon, so he sends in his Greninja. Ash goes for Cut, then Aerial Ace, but isn't able to do much damage once Avalugg goes into his Gyro Ball form. So he goes for Water Shuriken, which seems like it does nothing, but turns out it freezes Avalugg's feet. This leaves Avalugg open to get hit in the head with a Cut, but the Ice stable Pokemon stays upright. Ash goes for his ash-greninja form and starts wombo comboing Avalugg, and it just seems impossible for the Ice Pokemon to win. Ash just focuses on strength and starts spamming attacks, which eventually gets him trapped by an Ice Fang plus Gyro Ball combo, knocking him out. This battle was a solid start to the Snowbell City arc, and the battle itself was fine. I think Wulfric was handled well, however Abomasnow went down way too easily, and Avalugg was way too much of a wall. I feel like they could have evened it out a bit more, especially with how they perform in the rematch. I love it when the battles don't go down to the last Pokemon, and this battle did just that with Wulfric winning 2-0.
Speaking of walls, well, we're definitely gonna see more of that in Ash vs Valerie, the 7th placer on our list. First of all, I just want to say that whoever designed this gorgeous battlefield totally deserves a race. The first round is between Ash's Fletchinder and Valerie's Sylveon, and I just realized that Valerie is literally the opposite of Meowth. She's someone who wants to become a Pokemon and literally speaks Pokemon language.
It's Sylveon! Sylveon!
Anyways, the battle begins and Fletchinder scores the first hit, with a super effective Steel Wing. But Sylveon fights back with a not very effective Disarming Voice. But when Fletchinder charges for Peck, Sylveon catches it with its ribbons and begins spinning around and dealing more damage with Fairy Wind. But Ash finds a way out of this and calls Fletchinder to attack with Flame Charge, incinerating its ribbons. The battle ends in a simple clash between Steel Wing and Giga Impact, and if there's one thing we know in the anime, it's that the 150 base power move Giga Impact often loses the final clash, so Fletchinder finally gets its first win on this list. Valerie now sends in her final Pokemon, Spritzy. It's Trick Room time! Trick Room is a move that causes faster Pokemon to become slower, and slower Pokemon to become faster. But despite knowing this, Ash insists that Fletchinder uses Flame Charge again and again, further slowing it down, and only allowing Spritzy to dodge all of its attacks and hit Fletchinder with its own attacks. But soon later, the Trick Room vanishes, which means Fletchinder is now ultra fast. It manages to land a devastating Steel Wing, but Ash's momentum is quickly shattered as the next Moonblast takes Fletchinder out of the match. With that, the battle rests on Hawlucha's hands, an interesting choice given the type disadvantage. Trick Room is set up once more, but Ash notices that when X-Scissor clashes with the Trick Room wall, it generates these sorts of electric shocks. So when the moment's right, Ash calls for X-Scissor again and smashing Spritzy onto the wall, obliterating the Trick Room once and for all. By anime logic, this works because a bug-type move like X-Scissor is super effective against a psychic-type move like Trick Room. And Ash would even use the same logic 2 seasons later in his battle with Leon. Hawlucha lands one more high jump kick and wins Ash the battle. The whole Trick Room situation was amazing, and I always love it when battles are strategy based. For 6th gym, I just wish this was a 3v3, and the first battle was kind of boring. But despite that, the strategy, the payoff, and the overall aesthetic of this match earn it the number 7 spot. Now, following the theme of walls,
Grant climbs his way onto the number 6 spot on this list. Grant is the second gym leader of the Kalos region, and he's a rock specialist, and just like every other rock specialist before him, he also has an Onyx, and that's what he leads up against Ash's Froakie. And you might be thinking, well, with the 4 times type advantage, Ash has got this in the bag. It's gonna be an easy win, but you couldn't be more wrong. Ash goes for the immediate water pulse, which is dodged and met with the flash cannon. A rock polish later, and now Onyx is even faster than before. Now Froakie goes for a sick double team that circles around Onyx, and he fires off a rock tomb which Ash was waiting for, and Froakie starts climbing the rocks, which surprises Grant. Froakie manages to matrix dodge an Iron Tail, and then climb up the head and fire off a point blank water pulse to the dome, ending the rock snake. That battle was short, but was really well choreographed. It was actually one of my favorite battles in this entire list. But then Grant sends out his ace Tyrant, and it all goes downhill for Ash from here. Froakie tries his best to compete with the Dragon Fossil, but it fires off an insanely strong Draco Meteor which knocks out the Frog Boy. Honestly, insane that the second gym leader of a region is firing off Draco Meteors, but that's a story for another day. Next, Ash sends in his Fletchling who gets obliterated pretty quickly, so battle over. Except Grant granted Ash the opportunity to use all of his Pokemon in this battle against his 2. Kinda like Roxy did, but Ash only had 3 Pokemon at this point, so Ash sends in Pikachu. Pikachu and Tyrant have a great back and forth, exchanging many attacks. Grant is using his signature move Rock Tomb, and instead of jumping on the rocks, Pikachu sends him flying back like a tennis racket with Iron Tail. Eventually one lands in Tyrant's mouth, Pikachu jumps from rock to rock and ends the battle with a Thunderbolt. The Onix vs Froakie and Pikachu vs Tyrant battles were truly peak, but this battle lost major points by having Fletchling in this battle. Had they made this battle a simple 2v2, it would have been done much better in my honest opinion, as Fletchling vs Tyrant was easily the weakest part of this battle. That just about wraps up the top half of this list, so now we move on to the top 5, starting with
Ash vs Korrina. Honestly, I'm quite surprised it's this low. First, we have this segment of Ash trying his best to copy Tierno's rhythm of incorporating dancing in his battle, but he quickly learns that this is not a good idea, causing Korrina to gain the upper hand at the start of the battle. And although this is controversial, I actually like it. I like that Ash learns from others and experiments on different battle styles. And I like that by doing so, he realizes that he's got his own battle style, and that is his formula to victory. I also like Korrina's attitude. She's more serious and always taunting Ash in every decision he makes. This is a unique battle in a way that it's pure brute strength. Korrina's Mienfoo and Machoke both greatly show off speed, agility, and sheer strength in every move they make. But then Machoke uses Focus Blast, aka Focus Miss, so Ash's Fletchinder wins this match. In fact, Ash's Fletchinder and Hawlucha each get their own wins, which is nice to see. But they soon get taken out by Korrina's Mega Lucario. And why does Hawlucha seem to have taken damage from Bone Rush? Anyways, the battle is destined to end with none other than Pikachu vs Mega Lucario. This battle is incredibly fun to watch as it's filled with juicy battle clashes with neither side giving an inch. But it's only fitting that of all of Ash's Pokemon, it is Pikachu who gets the distinction of being the first one to defeat a Mega Pokemon. My main con for this battle is its lack of strategic moments. Yeah, it's a fighting type gym battle, but it's been proven before that fighting type gym battles can be both brutal and at the same time incorporate a level of strategy. But nevertheless, the attacks seen in Ash vs Korrina are some of the best. Each move is executed amazingly, leading to one of the most climactic finals in any gym battle. Going into this, I expected Ash vs Korrina to make my top 3, but 5th place is where it finds its true home. Or should I say, the green grass of home? Because number 4 is Ash vs Ramos. The average watcher may find this as the most forgettable XY gym battle, but I think it's got a lot of great moments. Jumpluff vs Fletchinder was a nice fake out. Jumpluff starts the battle on a good but deceitful note, as it skillfully dodges all attacks and is able to set up some defensive moves. Maybe Ramos is friends with Byron?
I love defense!
With moves like Cotton Guard and Sunny Day, it makes us believe that Jumpluff's gonna be a scary Pokemon for Ash to deal with. Except that it never gets the opportunity to attack, because the speedy Fletchinder lands a super effective Flame Charge, taking Jumpluff out of the battle. Well, Jumpluff's short time on the battlefield is all to prepare us for the star of this forest show, Weepinbell. With the sun still up, Weepinbell's Chlorophyll ability allows it to outspeed its opponents, evading their attacks and even landing a debilitating Poison Powder. And with these vines bedecking the field, Weepinbell uses one to swing to gain momentum and deal the finishing move, Slam. It does this 2 times against 2 Pokemon who've got the type advantage against it. And that's not to say Hawlucha underperformed, it actually managed to land some hits. but a devastating high jump kick miss plus a Weepinbell's sheer power is just too overwhelming for it. Honestly, this battle kind of feels like Ash vs Jeanette Fisher, where he faces an OP Pokemon from the Bellsprout line. But the battle doesn't feel unfair, but rather cool and hilarious. But of course, the champion of the show is truly Ash's Frogadier. It stealthily uses its Frobos to mask itself from Weepinbell's Poison Powder, which gives it the opening to take out the Flycatcher Pokemon thereafter. Then when Ramos' ace Go-Goat comes in, it is able to show what a gym leader ace is truly capable of. It's got a number of amazing improvised attacks like the Razor Leaf Tornado and my personal favorite, Leech Seed a la Frenzy Plant. Go-Goat has been running circles around Frogadier for most of the battle, but Ash remembers Ramos' wise words from earlier, to observe closely with a calm mind to discern the important things. So when trapped with a whirling Razor Leaf, Ash instructs Frogadier to not get distracted by it, and instead focus its eyes on its opponent. Ramos may have a goat, but Ash has got the goat. So the next Aerial Ace and Water Pulse takes Go-Goat out of the match, winning Ash his 4th gym badge. My main con of this battle though is the way Frogadier took so many hits and is able to win the battle in just 2 moves. But overall, this battle has a good amount of unconventionality, surprising stars, and a heart that makes the ending so satisfying.
Clemont takes the number 3 spot. The top 3 battles left are all true masterpieces, and it was really hard to decide where each battle went, but ultimately Clemont landed on the 3rd place. For his 5th badge in the Kalos region, Ash had to battle against none other than his traveling companion. This was a long-awaited battle, with Clemont even momentarily leaving the group to train for this battle. Actually, I go in full detail about this story, and even more in detail on his entire story in the Pokemon anime and his complete history, so check that out after this video. This 3-on-3 battle is sure not to disappoint, as Ash has a really strong team already at this point, including a pseudo-legendary, and it's always fun to see Ash battle his companions. Most of his companions are just early gym leaders being the 1st and 2nd badge, but this time it's different, he's the 5th. I'm a sucker for continuity, and this battle does not disappoint as it starts off with Clemont and Bunnelby against Ash and Pikachu. This of course being a rematch of their first battle in the start of the XY anime. The battle starts off very evenly, mimicking their first one, with the moves and move order being almost identical. As Pikachu goes for an Iron Tail on Bunnelby, it's caught with its ears, and he hits Pikachu with a Wild Charge. Bunnelby goes for Dig, and it's not looking good for Ash, but he comes up with a brilliant strategy. He Iron Tails the ground, knocking Bunnelby up, and hitting it with another Iron Tail to knock it out and give Ash the early lead. Clemont then sends out his in-game ace, Heliolisk. Ash recalls Pikachu and sends out his pseudo-legendary Goodra. The battle starts off with Heliolisk being incredibly fast, spinning circles around Goodra, hitting it with a Flash, and then immediately with a Dragon Tail. It's important to note that Dragon Tail doesn't have that switching effect though. Goodra attempts to hit a Dragon Pulse, but he just can't hit Heliolisk, who's too fast, and he gets paralyzed with Thunder Wave. Ash recalls Goodra and sends out Hawlucha as he has a better chance of competing with speed. Hawlucha goes for Karate Chop, which interrupts Heliolisk, showing off that he is slightly faster. Heliolisk lands a Parabolic Charge, Hawlucha misses a Flying Press after a Flash and gets hit with another Parabolic Charge, but he still remains standing. Heliolisk keeps getting healed with Parabolic Charge, and it's at that moment that Ash realizes Heliolisk's pattern of puffing up its frills before attacking, so one high jump kick later and Heliolisk is out, giving Ash the lead 2-0. And now it's time for Clemont's anime ace, Luxray. Luxray proves to be a menace because after one Electric Terrain and a Wild Charge, Hawlucha is defeated. Pikachu then comes in and Luxray eats its Thunderbolt with Thunderfang. After a small effort by Pikachu, 2 Wild Charges is enough to defeat him, evening up the battle, leaving it up to Goodra on Ash's side. Goodra immediately sets up Rain Dance to trigger Hydration to cure its paralysis and to wash out the Electric Terrain. Goodra eats up a Thunderfang, a Wild Charge, and a Swift, but that was part of the plan as Goodra was using Bide, which knocks out Luxray, winning the match for Ash. This was a stunning battle. The animation, the choreography, the story, the effort on both sides, it was a truly peak battle. If you tell me this is your number 1 battle, I wouldn't blink an eye. For the few things I would have fixed, I personally would have had Heliolisk knock out Hawlucha, considering it's a glass cannon and it got hit so many times with super effective moves. I also think that Bunnelby went down slightly fast, considering it was a pretty good powerhouse on Clemont's team. But regardless, this was a near perfect battle.
You know what's basically a perfect battle? Ash vs Olympia. Arguably the best double battle of all time, and my personal favorite gym battle. We are catered to this majestically celestial arena that instantly tells us we're in for a savory showdown. Olympia's Pokemon are the ever-synchronized Meowstic duo, but Ash also has his own synchronized duo, his rising ace Frogadier and his fire flyer comrade Talonflame, because a double gym battle with Ash always needs a flying type for the funsies. The battle begins with Olympia setting up a Helping Hand boosted Future Sight. Ash then goes on the offense, but the Meowstic's insane psychic abilities allow them to speedily dodge your attacks. But Ash remains composed and commands his Pokemon to focus on one opponent each. But Olympia calls for Prankster-assisted Light Screen, quickly protecting them and retaliating with Dark Pulse, an amazing combo of defense and offense. Throughout the battle, Olympia's felines have the perfect move combinations against any attack. But Talonflame and Frogadier also make for an excellent team, as when one of them is in an invulnerable position, the other would try to rescue their partner as much as they can. Olympia's Future Sight soon descends, severely damaging both of Ash's Pokemon. With this comes Ash's Epiphany. Enter Pikachu, the 5th Pokemon of this battle, and one who's gonna play a pivotal role in Ash's impending victory. Ash whispers something to Pikachu before the battle continues. Then Talonflame manages to land a Brave Bird, but Meowstic retaliates with Thunder Wave, causing Frogadier to heroically take the attack for its friend. Olympia then sets up her second Future Sight, and for some reason, Pikachu starts wagging his tail like a clock. He's actually counting how long it takes for a Future Sight to activate. The battle goes on, and both parties continue to exchange their attacks. Future Sight soon activates, giving Pikachu the exact time duration for this attack to take place. So when the third Future Sight is set up, Pikachu knows exactly when it's gonna activate. But at this point, both Talonflame and Frogadier have already taken a good amount of damage, so there's no time to waste. Olympia calls for Dark Pulse and Psyshock, so the paralyzed Frogadier hops on Talonflame's back, as they're chased by the two attacks. Talonflame flies closer and closer into Meowstic and redirects just in time for both attacks to land on both of them. This gives both Talonflame and Frogadier the opening to grab hold of the cats, immobilizing them, and as Pikachu signals that it's time for the Future Sight to be activated, Talonflame and Frogadier toss both the Meowstic right onto the Future Sight. And finally, Talonflame and Frogadier manage to separate the Meowstic, so after a blazing Flame Charge and an ash-greninja assisted Water Pulse, both Meowstic are unable to battle, winning Ash a well-deserved 7th badge. Ash vs Olympia will go down as one of the best battles in the Pokemon anime. It has perfected the art of double battles, with both sides displaying excellent teamwork, and Ash managing to use Olympia's moves against her, sprinkled by Pikachu's pivotal inclusion, all happening under the breathtakingly galactic sky. Ash vs Olympia is what Ash vs Tate and Liza ever wants to be. And for someone as mysteriously terrifying as Olympia, I'm impressed with how level-headed Ash is throughout the battle. His total composure and ability to think clearly and come up with a brand new out-of-the-box strategy make this one of the best versions of Ash in any of his gym battles. Hence, this battle perfection is placed at number 2. But even this is toppled by one more gym battle in the XY series, and perhaps in the entire Pokemon anime.
Which means Wulfric's rematch takes the top spot. Yep, a rematch getting the top spot, who would have thought that? This also means that the final gym battle of a region has taken the top spot in almost every single list, but are you even surprised about that? Wulfric number 2 came at the rear end of the Snowball arc, with Ash and Greninja having their moment, and Serena inserting herself into it too, which eventually snaps Ash out of it and gets the fire of his art burning again. With that fire burning, he's more ready than ever to challenge Wulfric and claim his final ticket into the Lumiose conference. I love Wulfric not allowing the gym referee to explain the rules because he's just as eager and ready to start this battle as Ash is. For this rematch, Ash starts with Pikachu this time, as Wulfric goes with Bergmite, a Pokemon he didn't get to use in his last battle. Well, I guess Ash didn't use Pikachu in their last battle either. Right off the bat, Ash commands for Electro Ball, but Bergmite skates out of the way and gets Pikachu with Icy Wind that freezes his feet, slowing him down. Bergmite uses Sharpen to become an Ice Diamond and uses Rapid Spin, hitting Pikachu, but he's still standing. Ash orders Pikachu to run around and melt off the ice on his feet, and Wulfric just stands there and lets that happen, before eventually firing off a Rapid Spin, which is met with Quick Attack into Iron Tail combo, knocking out the Ice Pokemon, and giving Ash the lead in the battle. Wulfric responds with sending out Avalugg, so I guess this time he doesn't need the Hail to make it invincible again. Pikachu goes for Thunderbolt, which is smart since Avalugg doesn't have a great special defense stat, something that Ash failed to capitalize on last time. Avalugg goes for Avalanche, which Pikachu dodges, but Wulfric expected that, so he went for Gyro Ball, to which Pikachu stops him in his tracks with Iron Tail on the battlefield, but Avalugg goes for Stone Edge, knocking out Pikachu and evening up the score. I will say though, it was a very valiant effort on Pikachu's end this time. Ash sends in Talonflame, who right away goes for Flame Charge and then dodges Stone Edge before eventually getting nicked by one. Avalugg gets hit with Steel Wing before hitting Talonflame hard with Avalanche, but this only gets responded with a really powerful Flare Blitz, finally knocking out the Iceberg Pokemon. As his final Pokemon, Wulfric sends in his Abomasnow, which was the lead last time. And even though it went down fairly quickly last time, I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Ash takes the initiative with Seal Wing, but it's met with a wood hammer that sends Talonflame flying. He tries to land a flame charge, but gets hit with an ice shard and another wood hammer knocking him out. Despite being extremely weak to Talonflame, Talonflame was unable to land a single hit on the Frost Street Pokemon. Now it's Greninja's time to shine. He goes in and wombo combos Abomasnow with Aerial Ace and Water Shuriken. After taking a wood hammer, they tie their bonds and go ash-greninja and continue to whoop Abomasnow's ass. It's only now, after taking so much damage and seeing the progress that these two have made, that Wulfric decides to go Mega. They exchange a plethora of hits before it culminates in one of the most badass aerial aces we've ever seen in the anime. Cool guys don't look at explosions, and neither does ash-greninja, as he secures the win for Ash. This was a very fun battle with not much wasted time. The choreography was top tier, and especially when it comes to Greninja vs Abomasnow, that battle is easily my favorite 1v1 out of almost every gym battle in the entire Pokemon series we covered. Now it's time for my personal favorite part of these gym ranking videos, where I see the battle records for each Pokemon and give my personal MVP of the region. Starting off from worst to best win rate. For Kalos, Ash only used 5 different Pokemon, which is the only time this has happened, so it's gonna be interesting. The worst win rate goes to Talonflame, who boasted a 43% win rate. Talonflame actually appeared in 9 out of the 10 Kalos gym battles, which is actually crazy. He only didn't battle against Clemont. Then we have Hawlucha at 50%, who boasted a 50% win rate. As he did his best, he was just a glass cannon. In the middle of the pack, we have Pikachu, who went 6-3, securing a lot of big wins and losing to a Surskit. Greninja went 5-2 with a 71% win rate, just slowly racking up wins here and there on all 3 stages of life. And finally, Guja went 100%, but that's very much skewed since his only decision was against Clemont's Luxray. Overall, I think the MVP of this region goes to Greninja. He was that guy, and as Froakie vs Onix and Greninja vs Abomasnow were my favorite individual 1v1s, it only makes sense to give him the award. We have now officially covered every single Ash Ketchum Gym Battle, so it only makes sense to rank the best and worst gym battles of all time, right? Comment down below your favorite and least favorite Kalos Gym Battle, and which Pokemon you think deserved MVP. Until next time, it's been your boy LUAP, and I'm out. Peace.